Hello everyone, so today's video is talk about a recommended books again. Of course, the book that I just read, the title is Breaking Bad Habits of Race and Gender by Sarah Mary. So what is this book talks about is about how racism and sexism are still happening in school, even though we have laws that says that everyone should be treated equally. So sometimes the problem is really obvious. The problem are really obvious. The problem are very familiar for us because the problem is usually about a bullying or unfair punishment. So basically this book talks about how we breaking our bad habits because the problem is often came from our bad habits. So basically this books about how we can change the way we think about race and gender and how we can treat people more better. Yes, it's because the book have a background in school, so that's why this book is really good for teachers, for educators, for students, of course. Like this book is really good for people who cares about education, fairness, and how to treat each other better. So what good about this books? Like a lot of the things that I got from this book that I would mention three of them. The first is the author used real life stories from school, so it's just not the theory but it feels real. Yes, of course, because in these books the authors give us many examples, like many cases, like the example is from the chapter 1, the simple moment that made author wonder how do kids learn what it means to be boy or girl, because the author's own classroom where a young boy takes on the role of mother during a pretend play game. So it makes us think about the gender, like the gender role in our environment, right? The second good things about this book is she makes smart philosophy with actual teaching tips. So it's really helpful for someone who wants to become a teacher like us, like an educational college students like us. It's really helpful. This book is really helpful because yes, of course we could become a teacher, right? So the tips, it's gonna helpful for us to treat our students better. But we have a good things and we have a bad things too of these books. Another bad things, like maybe some likes of these books, because of course no one books is perfect, right? So the first is some parts of the book use big academic words. So it's maybe it's good for teachers because they have a good knowledge about the vocabularies that the authors use, but it's kind of hard for beginner students to understand these books because the vocabularies that she used is kind of hard to understand. So we need to reread again and again to get the point that the author wants to deliver. And the second is the books is more focused on teacher side. So I already mentioned that this book is good for students too, but the likes of this book is to focus on teacher sides, but it's also good to students. That's why I say that is the likes of these books, because I think it would be even better if it gave more student focus, because like the cases is often happen to students, like the racism, like the unfair punishment is often happen to students, right? So that's why I think students' perspective it's have a role too in this book. So like it's useful to students who read these books, like the POV of the students. And lastly, the examples are all from school in US. Like maybe it's not really relevant to our country because yes, like we know others country, like every country has their own system, like their own system in their school, right? So maybe if the authors given examples from others country, it could be more good to these books. Yes, I have mentioned the good things, I have mentioned the bad things, and I am really recommending these books for you. So why you should read these books? Because it makes you think. Yes, it makes you think because it helps you understand how small actions, like how we act, how we treat someone, how we speaks, is have a big impact to others or to our own self, because it could be create a bigger problem or it could be positive change. It could depends on our actions, on our speaks, on our how we treat others, right? Yes, if you're a student, if you're a teacher, or just someone who wants to help make schools more inclusive, so this book is really worth to read. So this book is really recommended, like you must to have it, and you don't have to worry because this book is really easy to access, because this book have a ebook, like have a PDF, so you can access it. Like you only could search on the Google or like Google Reads, and the books will appear. Alright, maybe that is for me. Like I already tell you how this book is talked about, how good things, also the bad things of these books. So breaking bad habits of race and gender really made me think differently about school and identity. So let's try to create a better habits, especially in class and friendship and in our life. Goodbye. Hope this video is helpful for you.